I told you it wouldn't work. I told you because why? He already feel bad enough.
Hello, and welcome to another great episode of Love Speaks. I'm your host, Francois, with the absence of my lovely wife, Lakeisha. And we're so excited to have you here for another great episode of Love Speaks. Love Speaks what love is, whether it is spiritually, whether it's culturally, or whether it is currently. Today, I have two phenomenal guests with me who will speak on a topic that is very, very near and dear to my heart. I was told this a good while ago that two of the most important decisions you will ever make, and you must choose them wisely. But one of the best decisions you can make is receiving Jesus Christ as your Lord and personal Savior. But one of the most important things that you must consider in your life is who you marry. Because who you marry can either make you or break you. Who you marry can destroy your future or the real you of who you are on the inside. Who you marry also can build the strongest bond, and having two is way better than just being one. So, marriage is a very, very important topic and is most definitely near and dear to my heart. One thing that I discovered that when it comes down to marriage, that a lot of people rush in. However, they rush in without guidance. They rush in without wisdom, and they also rush in with unrealized expectations. Here, I have a couple with me on today, and we're going to discuss marriage. They are authors. I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, love and respect their relationship as a husband and a wife. We have our overseer, senior pastor, uh, Olden Reese, and our apostle, chief apostle, LaShawn Reese. But today, we're laying down titles and we're just being us, because the reality is marriage affects all of us across the board. Whether you're a faith believer or not, you need tools to help you stay in a good and healthy marriage. Whether you are atheist or whether you are a Muslim, all of us need tools to help us stay married. So I welcome LaShawn and Odin Reed.
We are
Welcome.
excited
Excited.
to be here. Definitely.
Francois.
Absolutely. I'm thankful for both of you guys on your yes to be here. Again, I respect both of you all. I love you all dearly.
And we love you
Um,
too.
you guys are, you make me jealous just a little bit, because I don't know how many books you have between the both of you guys, and I'm still struggling to get one out. So I'm a little jealous, but you have a phenomenal book, and I am so excited. And you have a phenomenal podcast as well, I believe. Podcast, a talk show,
Yeah.
which you talk about unified love. Am I
Yes.
talking right?
Yes. Unified Love
Couples
Couples
Ministry.
Ministry.
Yes.
Where
Unified
two
Love
hearts
Couple
meet.
Ministry.
All right.
Unified Love Couples Ministry,
Yes.
where couples meet. What's your backstory?
Okay,
I'm
our
gonna let her start it.
backstory. You want to? Okay.
Ladies first.
Okay, thank you. Our backstory. We were high school sweethearts. We met in high school, dated for 2 years. He went away to college to play football in Ohio. So we separated because, long distance relationships, that was just too much. And at that time, we were young.
I broke up with
So,
her.
yes, my parents ain't know about it. So, because we were young, and, it was better to sever it because we knew that it wouldn't work. He would be away to college for 4 years. And 24 years later, after no contact, no communication, we end up in the same church service
Wow.
24 years later.
24 years.
So we reunited, you know, it didn't take long because we knew each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew, even as being young, honestly, if we would have stayed in that relationship, we would have probably been together those 24 years. And it's just like instant connection. So 6 months later, we were married, and 16 years later, we're still
Yeah.
together.
Wow. That is phenomenal. 16, almost 17 years, right?
Well,
This
it'll be
year.
16 in July. Hmm.
Exactly, exactly. So, and this is phenomenal. I love your story. So, two hearts can meet,
Hmm.
separate for years,
Hmm.
but would it be true love that brought you back together, or a never-ending love that brought you back together?
I'm going to say it was never ending
Mm-hmm.
because there was times during the time we saw each other, and I think it was one time we saw each other in the store.
Hmm.
When I was married before that, and she had her daughter, I had my daughter, and you just never know how things work out. You never know how God does things, but we were on different paths, and sometimes God has a way of, when you're on different paths, He has a way of aligning us and
Hmm.
bringing things back to tuition
Hmm.
and back together. I think I can say with me, God kept me for a reason. After going through bad relationships and going through being in other relationships and being married before, and well, actually, been married twice and having bad relationships where I couldn't trust anybody. I couldn't trust another woman. So for a while, I just kept to myself, and I wanted to get me right. I said, look, I need to get me right. I said, maybe it's me, I don't know, but I had to get me right. I had to get me together. And God had a way, He just kept me away from all of that. He kept me away from people, from dating and from looking for a wife. And I remember my bishop one time saying, one day he said, God gonna restore everything back to you. When you start, then when God say these things, you start looking around, saying, "Where's she at? What's she at? Who she is?" and whatever. But I got to a point. I said, "You know what? I'm gonna just wait on God." And when that time comes, it's gonna come. And I remember one day I told my bishop, God, I said, I remember what you told me. I said, I think I wanna, I wanna meet somebody. I said, but I'm not rushing for it, but I wanna meet somebody one day. And he said, well, go home and write down what you want. And write down how you want her to be. And write down what kind of woman you want to be with. And the woman, when I was done with it, it was so funny because my mom was, she came in my room because I had moved back to help her because she was sick at the time. And she came in my room one day and she said, what you writing? I said, my bishop told me to write down the kind of woman I want. He said, well, you need she said, don't put no black woman, put a red woman down there. You need a red woman. And maybe you're gonna try a black one. You need somebody red, different color. So I looked down like, really? And she said, yeah, write it down. So I wrote it down and everything. I started writing down, I said, well, she got to be able to handle me because I'm a handful. So her to be able to handle and deal with me because I know I could be a handful sometime. And and deal with all that. So I was writing these things down, and I wrote everything that he told me. He said, write it down, pray over it for 7 days, and fast and pray over it for 7 days. And then he said, tear it up and burn it and just throw it away. He said that's your way of just giving it to God.
Mm.
And I did that. And not knowing that a year and a half later at a church service that I wasn't even supposed to be at, that I showed up at, and she was there.
Wow. Wow. And I love what you said that after two relationships, you said maybe it's me.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I should work on
Me.
me. How important is it for those who are not just single looking to be married, but those who are already married and probably experiencing conflict and discomfort in the relationship, how important is it for them to work on themselves?
It's very important to work on ourselves because it's easy to cast blame. It's easy to say it's your fault. You made me do it, or, it's easy. And a lot of times, it's easier to cast blame to just say, I need to stop walking around with an attitude. I
Hmm.
need to be more polite or friendlier or cherish the person that I'm with. It's easier to cast blame to say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I need to do this, and this. And if I could see that you accept what I said, you begin to change and move, then where's my accountability?
Exactly. Exactly.
I'm holding you accountable, yet I refuse to change.
Yes.
And so we end up in the same continuous cycle
Hmm.
because I don't want to change. I can see you change, and then you start changing and say, wait a minute, you ain't doing nothing to change. So you revert back because you don't see a change in me. So
Exactly.
it's easier to just say, hey, you deal with it.
And
One thing I learned about that kind of situation is when we look to blame somebody else, that means we don't want to look at our own faults.
Mhm.
We don't want to look at our own wrongdoings, and we disguise ourselves as, oh, I'm perfect, I did everything right, so it got to be their fault. And no, a lot of times it can't be just that person's fault. And I learned, even before I got with my wife, um I remember going to my ex-wife at the time and ask God told me to go to her and ask her for forgiveness. And I said, God, go to her. Why? And God said, no, your if you want your healing, if you want you want to be able to move on, you got to go and ask for forgiveness.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I did. And when the response I got was negative, the first thing went through my mind was, okay, God, I did what you said, and I got a negative response. But he said, no, it was for you to be able to release it and let it go.
Mhm.
So that's how I was able to let that go. But he said, all of this is to make you better.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so the next time when you be with somebody, you'll know how to handle situations better. Because of that, it, I learned how to be a better man, a better person, to be more patient, to be to understand that you can't just go off the fly.
Exactly.
And you have to be, if you're going to be in a relationship with somebody, you got to be able to listen.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
got to be able to be patient with them. You got to be able to talk with them. And God had to teach me all of this before she even came back into my life. So, like I said, he had to work on me. And
Yeah.
along, I had to work on myself, and me and God had to work together to make me better so I can be a good husband to my wife.
So, and I 1000% agree with you that it is so important to work on you first.
Mhm.
I, I'm a strong advocate for being just knowing yourself,
Yes.
knowing you. The more you know you, you know what triggers you, you know what aggravates you, you know what you love, you know what you don't like. And so when you have your marital relationships, I've had to do it for myself.
Mhm.
It's like I'm feeling a certain type of way, and I will sit and I will talk to myself. Why do I feel this way?
Mhm.
Am I embarrassed?
Mm-hmm.
Do I feel unsupported? Before we have an argument or whatever, let me understand where I am and why I
Yes.
feel a certain way so that when I talk to my wife, I can tell her exactly where this is coming from.
Mhm.
I felt embarrassed by how you said so and so and so and so and so and so and such because I'm aware of who I am and why I feel the way I feel.
Yeah.
In this climate of marriages aren't sticking together, um, there's a lack of self awareness. However, growing up under my grandmother's ministry, she used to preach extremely hard
Mhm.
about compromise.
Mhm.
And so my grandmother had that we don't compromise. So I took that in marriage, not understanding
Mm.
that in a marriage that is going to be healthy, there has to be compromise.
Yes.
How do you define or express the importance of being able to compromise?
Go ahead.
To be able to compromise is because a lot of times, it's two different people coming together as one.
Absolutely.
We have our own opinions. We have
Yes.
our own, like you said, you came in with the mentality of not compromising.
Hmm.
But in order to make relationships, marriages work, there has to be a coming together and
Yes.
being in agreement. There has to be communication because a lot of times, if things don't go our way, we might shut down. And I like what you said about the self evaluation,
Hmm.
that you self evaluate, because on the flip side of that, I won't say nothing. I'm just
Exactly.
going to stay to myself. I'm just going to, but because we want to work together in unity and in harmony, we have to, like, it can be where we don't agree. It can be where, he has an idea and I don't like it, or I have an idea and he doesn't like it. But we have to always find that middle ground
Yes.
of how can we make this work. And it may not satisfy me.
Absolutely.
It may not, and I'm targeting me
Yes.
because my biblical role is to be submissive.
Hmm.
And a lot of times it may not satisfy me. And he may go ahead as the head of the household
Yes.
and make the decision. But what do I have to do? I have to support.
Yes.
I have to help him be successful in the decision that he's making. And that's me compromising
Absolutely.
because I didn't want to do this. I said no. I was not in
Exactly.
agreement. But because I want our relationship and our marriage to be successful, guess what? You made a decision. I'm going to support you 100. And
Hmm.
I'm going to be there and I'm going to make sure. And if it fails, guess what? I'm not in your ear saying, I
I told
told
you
you
so.
not to do
Uh-huh.
that. I told you it wouldn't work. I told you. Because why? He already feel bad enough. So why am I going to say, oh, and I'm going to take the knife and I'm going to dig it deeper and deeper and deeper? No, I'm going to say, you know what, baby, it didn't work this time, but guess what? Something else will work. And to me, I could have said, oh, but I compromise. No, I'm doing everything to make sure that my relationship is successful and
Oh.
happy. I want to be happy. So I don't want conflict. I don't want arguments. I don't want confrontation. A lot of things, even when we first got married, our motto is not to go to bed angry. Because we find out and we realize, yeah, we're laying down to go to sleep, our backs turned, but are we really asleep? We mad, we tossing and turning. So we want unity, we want harmony. And look, maybe the next time he'll compromise,
Hmm.
you know? And compromise, we shouldn't look at it as a bad word.
Exactly.
I want this to work
Yes.
by
And we
any means
and
necessary.
we always call it agree to disagree.
That's it.
This is like great, phenomenal information
Hmm.
and a personal curiosity of mine because thank God after ooh, 18 years of marriage, I think now, for my wife and I, we found our rhythm in a
Hmm.
sense. But in the earlier years, you said, don't go to bed angry.
Hmm.
We would go weeks without talking. And my question is, how do you not go to bed angry? I have been in transportation for 23 years. So sleep is a very important part of me. So I can be mad at you and be like, I ain't kissing you tonight. I got to go to sleep so I can get up early in the morning, make this money, make sure we pay these bills and everything else like that. And on the weekend, we'll talk about it. So, how do you really, and maybe that's probably a viewer or watcher who probably struggles in the same thing.
Hmm.
How do you not go to bed angry? Is there a mindset? Is there a skill? What is it that causes you not to go to bed angry?
How do you not go to bed
Get
angry?
angry. Go
I'll
ahead.
answer since I opened up this can of worms.
Go ahead, baby.
I married a talker. So where I would shut down or where I would don't want to talk about it, he is a talker. So even if I would lie down to go to sleep he's nudging me. We got to talk. I could be dozing while he's in mid sentence and we still have to talk because, like you said, I got to go to work in the morning. So it took a skill of, look, let's deal with this now because he's not going to let me go to sleep.
I hear you.
And then dealing with it now, it eliminates leaving it and not never going back
Yes.
to it and dealing with it because now we talking, we just life goes on, but we still have unresolved issues.
Exactly.
So was it really worth me going to sleep and not dealing with it or addressing it? Yeah, I might be a little tired this in the morning or the next day, but I would have still been tired if I stayed up and continued to watch that episode.
Exactly. And that does make so much sense
Mhm.
because what happens is too much space
Mhm.
leaves the seed time to take root and to
Yes.
grow. And
Yes.
if we don't address it immediately,
Mhm.
and or if we do address it immediately,
Mhm.
it plucks that seed right
Yes.
out.
Yes.
Because now I got so many other thoughts. She has so many other thoughts going through her head. And I can't
Mhm.
believe that. And that's just like the time and before you
Yes.
know it, and so when we do have a fight, we don't even know what we're fighting about.
And look how
Mhm.
much more energy that takes to go 2 weeks without speaking.
Exactly.
Come on, that's go ahead.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this when me and my wife first got married. The reason that was one of our rules that we said because we didn't want stuff to grow.
Yes.
Mhm.
We didn't want to give the devil no kind of weapons or leverage that he think he'll have over us.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So we decided that no matter what, we're gonna get it out.
Exactly.
But once we got it out, we was able to lay our heads down
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and go to sleep and
Mhm.
be satisfied with that. Whatever we came up with, it was sometimes it wasn't long, sometimes
Mhm.
it was, but at least we got it out. I don't feel like we should let things linger,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
And
because
that
when we
makes
let things
so much
linger,
sense. Yeah.
it turns into something bigger. And
Like you, I think in our relationship, my wife is the talker outside, but I'm the talker inside. As you know, she can meet a stranger and I'm quiet, I'm quiet, I'm quiet. But at home, when it came down to us having to discuss things, it was like, no, I'm fine. It's okay. And I was like, no, we need to talk
Mhm.
about
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
Where did this come from?
Mhm.
Why are you feeling this way? I know how it made me feel, so I'm that talker.
Mhm.
And you also brought up another. This is just good hot topics for marriage. Hot topics for marriage, because you also brought up submission,
Mhm.
and that is like almost a curse word for most women. Period. For most women, it's
Mhm.
like submitting to what?
Mhm.
Nothing. And you brought up submission. I heard it stated this way from another woman on a different plot. It's an old uh, platform, and she said that there is nothing wrong with submission. She said submission simply means agreement.
Mhm.
And she said that's all submission is. It's agreement. What is submission to you?
Submission to me is allowing him to lead. And that was hard for me initially because I was independent for a long time.
Absolutely.
I was not married for a long time. So
Exactly.
it was hard. I was used to taking charge, taking control.
Mhm.
Something as simple as, and I still laugh about it now, us going into a restaurant and I walk up and say, it's for two, a party for two, or give my name because I'm so used. And I actually had to catch myself initially. I'm like, oh, wait, babe, let me let you do that because I'm so used, to taking charge and being a single mother and single
Mhm.
parent. And so being submissive is acknowledging within myself that he is the head. And because he is the head, he is directly accountable to God,
Yes.
in every decision that's made. Now, the good thing about it is that my husband includes me on every decision. He's not the macho type walking around, oh, I'm the head of the household and what I say go. No.
Yeah.
he involves me. So being submissive doesn't mean that I have to be a silent partner.
Exactly.
I can voice my opinions. I can say what I feel, and he takes it in consideration. Now, whether or not he goes with what I say or what I feel, but at least I'm involved and I am
Yes.
included, which makes me not feel like I'm being lorded over,
Hmm.
or I fall in line or get out, or it's nothing like that. So it's important that not only the wife is willing to say, "Hey, he's the head of the household. I'll let him rule the home,"
Yes.
and saying that, but guess what? I'm also going to give my opinions. And my husband saying, "Look, I welcome what you have to say.
Yes.
Babe, what you feel about this? How do we should we handle that?" He always includes it. So it's easy for me to be submissive because of the environment that he created for me.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead and talk, express yourself. And then guess what? I want to say 85% of the time he go with what I suggest, or so it makes it easier. But there are women that says, "Oh, I don't want to submit to him. He ain't doing right. He ain't doing this. He ain't doing this, and he's supposed to do this." But you married him,
Yes.
and you married him under covenant. So
Exactly.
I don't want to hear what he ain't, because
Exactly.
you married him that
You
way.
married him.
Come on. You married him that way.
Hmm.
So even before marriage is now saying, Am I going to be able to submit to him?"
Mm.
Even now, with us being engaged or in a relationship or
Exactly.
dating or courting, is this someone I can submit to? It's
Exactly.
very important. It'll make it or break a relationship.
And that's powerful. And of course, Love Speaks is a platform for all people,
Hmm.
but we have our foundation biblically, and there are biblical principles that apply in all of life. So whether you're a believer or not, and we take from the scriptures that says, "Husbands, love your wives, and
Hmm.
wives, submit to your husbands."
Yes.
And I've understood it to mean that most wives don't have a problem submitting to a man who loves her.
Hmm.
What does love mean to you, Odin, when it comes down to husbands loving their wives? We want them to submit, but sometimes before they can really be comfortable enough to submit, they have to have that security of love. What does that mean to you?
One thing me and my wife always talk about, another thing we always wanted in our marriage, this is before we even got married, we talked about all of this,
Yeah.
and we would never disrespect one another, never be unruly to one another, never curse or be talk to each other any old kind of way, or disrespect in each other any old kind of way.
Yeah.
And we never call our arguments. We call them discussions.
Hmm.
So when we didn't agree with anything, it's how you treat one another.
Mhm.
And as a man, just because I am the husband and I'm the head, don't mean that I have to be disrespectful to my wife. And I believe that if a man is showing his wife love, respect, and showing her that, hey, I love you know, and it don't have to be just because you say it out your mouth,
Hmm.
and how you carry yourself and how you care for her and how you show her the love, you know, even when they come home, even when they walk in the door, even when they see your smile, even when you come home, and when you see their smile, and when you see one another and you're happy to see each other, and even when you talk to each other throughout the day, like me and my, we've been doing that for 16 years. We see each other every day, but we still talk with each other throughout the day, just to, hey, I just check in to see if you okay, or just to talk, or she'll call me sometimes just to vent, and I'll sit there
Mhm.
and listen. And she said, "You hear me?" I said, "Yeah, I hear you. I'm just listening." Because sometimes it's good to just, you got to listen. You got to know what makes her happy,
Yeah. Yeah.
and how you listen and how you respond and how you talk to her, that person, because Jesus, like you said, Jesus said love, Husbands should love their wives as Jesus loved the church. And how do you know that is if Jesus loved us that much, why can't a man love his wife that much? You
Exactly.
know, and you're gonna honor her, you know, by when things or decisions got to be made, you're not just gonna say, "Oh, well, I'm gonna just do it because I want to do it."
Mhm.
No, I had another brother ask me, "You tell your wife everything?" I say, "Everything." I said, "I don't hide nothing from her. She knows everything about me. She knows everything who I'm talking to. She can look at my phone. She ain't got to worry about none of that stuff. She can
Mhm.
pick up my phone any day of the week, grab my phone, use it, see who texted me. That, she don't have to worry about nothing. And I could do the same for her, and she know she got my bank account. I got hers. We got each other. All that stuff we don't worry about all that because we trust each other and we love each other that much. I tell her she tell me sometimes, boy, I'm so glad I don't have to worry like some other people I see have to worry. She said, because you're simple, and I'm a simple person, so
Mhm.
I don't need much.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's beautiful. And I think this was like a perfect description of how the scripture says, "Husbands, love your wife and dwell with them
Mm,
according to knowledge."
Yeah.
mhm,
And so it's how can you say you love somebody you don't know?
mhm.
You can't look in their face and see they're annoyed, they're aggravated, they just don't feel
Yes.
good. How can you love somebody you don't know?
Yeah.
Mhm,
You don't know their feet hurt and there's been a stressful day.
mhm.
And if they snap, they didn't snap because it was you. It
Right.
was the stressful day they had.
Mhm,
And so you said you're patient
mhm,
because I know she requires patience.
mhm,
I know these things about, and I think that really does make loving one easier.
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
Because I know if you know your football, you know your football.
mhm. That's right.
You know your players on the team, and you know
Yes.
who
Mm-hmm.
really need to get the ball in their hand because you
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
love it. And so
Yes.
when you love, you know. So how you don't know when her birthday is? How you
Mhm,
don't know what her favorite flower is? How you
mhm,
don't know? So that's like that love. You guys have an awesome book. At one time, I stopped dealing with married couples. Um, I just took a sabbatical. It was like, can you marry us? I'm not marrying anybody right this time. Can you
mhm,
counsel us? I'm not counseling anybody at this time. And I endeaved myself into marriage research and
mhm,
just reading. And I want to say, your book is phenomenal. It is on point. And there's a small portion in your book that I said to myself, that's what I'm going to deal with. And looking at that and some other things, I said, I feel like if I ever have to deal with premarital counseling again,
mhm.
I'm not going through all that stuff again. Do you love each other? Why you love each other? I'm jumping straight to it because your love is not what broke up your marriage.
Mhm.
It was your ability to recover.
Come on.
How fast do you recover? What is the recovery of love? And can you really recover love?
Yes, you can recover love. A lot of things happen that causes trauma, that may cause distrust,
Mhm.
that may cause, things happen in life. Things happen in relationships, things happen in marriage. And, when we find that place where this is the person I really want to spend the rest of my life with, we make sacrifices in order to make it work. So, yes, if something traumatic happens, yes, if something, um, and it could have affected my ability to trust you because I feel like I have something worth fighting for.
Mhm.
And not only do am I willing to fight, but he wants to fight with me too, because it's going to take two to
Yeah.
recover. It is no way we can rebound or recover if there's only one fighter.
Mm,
Both have to be willing to say, yes, I will fight for it.
absolutely.
Let's take a example of infidelity. If one is unfaithful to the other, that person that was unfaithful have to deal with the process of that
Exactly.
person recovering.
That's right.
It's not tomorrow, okay, we talked about it, it's over with, done with. No, I have questions. Every question I have,
That's right.
everything I want us to do, if I want us to go to therapy, you want this relationship, you help me to recover so we can rebound
Yes.
together. So, yes, recovery is possible, but it takes both of them that are willing to say, yes, we want to fight for this.
Yes.
And it may take a week, it may take a year,
That's
it may
right.
take 5. But because, like the talk about the love, because I love you so much and
Yes.
I cherish this relationship. Yes, I made a mistake, but I want us to work this out. But it has to be
Yes.
done together.
Yes.
Yes, we can recover.
And I
Mm.
think the biggest thing about recovery is when the person know they messed up, that they take ownership of it
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and say, you know what, I messed up, but I still want my relationship.
Yes.
Or both of them messed up. Hey, we messed up. Now, how can we fix this to
Yes.
make it right? What can we do?
Yes.
And one thing we didn't discuss, the biggest thing is through your recovery, God has to be in place in that. With us, I mean, we have our time where we're on Wednesday, we fast and we pray together just for our marriage. We have our date nights where we don't talk about ministry, we don't talk about church.
Good.
We're just about us,
Mm-hmm.
our marriage, and what we want in life and what we want to accomplish as husband and wife. People think that when you're married and you're a Christian, all is about all just about Jesus. No, it's about too. What do you want to accomplish?
Yes.
And I ask my wife all the time, the things that she want to do, and I support her, and she knows the things I want to do. So we support each other in the endeavors and the things that we want to do. So all of those things are important in your recovery because you got to know who your wife is. You got to know who your husband is. Like Daddy used to always tell me, when you got a good woman, know her chairs, know the things about her, know what she likes, know what she dislikes.
Yes.
And if she's a good woman, she wants to know the same about you, because y'all want to know each other.
Yes.
And when you know each other, that helps your marriage to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And it does. It helps your marriage to grow. And once you get to know one another, you're gonna respect each other, especially when you know what that person been through and in their
Exactly.
lives and the things they've been through in life. You're gonna respect them.
So we like to, in this new season, we're ending with a little fun of a game entitled "Would You Rather and Why."
Okay.
Would you rather and why? All right. Would you rather be loved for everything you're not, or liked for everything you are?
Wait, that's too hard.
Ooh, what we got? The hard question.
Love for everything I'm not,
Uh-huh.
or liked for everything I am.
Yeah. That's a doozy. Thanks to our producing staff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank y'all. Give us the tough
So,
question.
is it a right or wrong answer?
I don't think it's a right or wrong answer at all. At all.
I'm gonna say both.
Love for everything I'm not,
Mm,
because that means you'll be willing to accept the good and the bad.
wow.
And then I'll knock it out the park when it's good.
Come on now.
But then when it's bad, you'll still be there
Mm,
because you know that I have them good qualities too.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
'Cause we
That was
remember the
I
good
had to think
qualities.
real hard on that.
Exactly. It had me thinking. It was like,
Yeah.
See, even when it's bad, you'll still remember the good qualities of who you. They'll still remember your good qualities of who you are.
mhm. Okay. Would you rather have a perfect memory or be able to forget anything you wanted at will?
Mm.
Forget anything I wanted at will.
I'm with you on that one.
That will, yeah. I take that one too.
A part of me feel like I have to. I think my memory sometimes keeps me blocked.
Yes.
And it's like, there you go again.
Mhm.
Which angle are you coming at? Because
Yes.
I remember everything you you ever did. I remember
Yes, yes.
so that'll be forgiveness. I mean, forgetfulness can be a blessing.
Sometimes I be want to, like, a lot of time I want to forget certain things.
Yeah.
Don't want to remember it no more.
Yeah.
But it seems like a lot of times when those memories come back up, you say, "Why did that have to come up? Why?"
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because those are things that you forgot. That You
Exactly.
don't want to remember no
Yeah.
more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
My memory
oh,
sometimes
yeah.
is too good in some areas. But thank you both for taking time out to be on Love Speaks. We most definitely heard Love Speaks through you. You have a marriage that can be admired by many, and I admire your marriage. I admire your unity. I'm a fan for marriage. Before I got married, and of course you were on that journey. You know me way before, and I used to get a lot of people say, "You got to get married. Your mom got to let you go." And in the back of my head was, "No, my mom is not the reason I'm not married. My reason I'm not married is because I don't see any marriage worth modeling." And it is like, if that is what marriage is, I'd rather not have it.
Wow.
And so in today's society, marriage is worth it. You just have to find that one you love and have that everlasting love with, that you're willing to be patient with, you're willing to learn from and learn them, and realize at the end of the day, no matter what takes place, you too can recover. You can recover love. You can recover your relationship. You can rekindle the fire that you had in the beginning. I've learned throughout these years that the marriages that last the longest are not the marriages that never experience any hurt, pain, or disappointment. They learned how to recover. So purchase your copy of Love Cure
For relationships and
for
marriage.
relationships and marriage.
Yes.
Purchase your copy so that you can recover, rekindle, and allow your love to speak through you and your relationship. This is Francois. Thank you again for watching. So please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, see you on the next episode. Love Speaks is what love is. Love is culturally, love is spiritually, love is connective, and love is current. And so we're so grateful to have you here. So do us a favor, like, share, subscribe on whatever platform that you have, and hit the notification button so every time that we come on, you know, hey, we are here. Every week we're releasing a new episode of great information, and we want you to be a part of it. We do all this with you in mind.